What's up, everybody? Finally done with the 80. He's coming to pick it up today. I didn't take much video of it getting worked on the past 2 months. Just took a bunch of pictures instead. So here's pretty much the slideshow of everything getting done. I'll talk over the important stuff, kind of explain what we're doing, but enjoy. All right, so in these pictures, the rear hatch is becoming the rear glass, and the lower wall has been welded in. And then this is the rear quarter glasses, which used to be the rear window on the rear door. Also made a little panel so the rear glass could be changed out, which you'll see here shortly. And this is some time lapse of me welding in the rear doors permanently to make them the rear quarter panels. This took a lot of time, lots of little angles to do, making sure everything's straight, especially getting them to line up to the front door, because once that's in, there's never changing that again. All right, this is the video I was telling you about earlier where the rear glass slides in and up. Simply put the glass into the little access hole I made, slide it up. It presses in place when it's all the way up, and then I made little keeper brackets to the bottom just to support the glass. Came out really well. I actually had to flip the doors. The left became the right and the right became the left for the glass. A lot of questions I had was, how did I copy the rear hatch curve onto the doors / quarter panels? Pretty simple, just took a light, made a shadow, traced the shadow, cut it out, there you go. Another day of working on the 80. Got the back all welded in. Doors are welded in already. Now we're working on filling the gap here. I've already got my inner panel tacked in place. Weld those together so that way we have a nice inner. And then we'll make our next piece that comes up to the inside of the hatch here. And then we'll start working on the outside. You gotta do that 2 times on both sides. But it's coming together. Slowly but surely. Gotta make a brace for the factory roof cross member there to tie down into the cage, because the cage is going to be a solid part of this truck. It's not gonna be just a cage. And then he doesn't want the sunroof anymore, so we have to make a fill panel for the sunroof. But it is all coming really good. You can see across there the holes for the windows to slide in and out if he ever breaks one and needs to reinstall one. That way we're not cutting holes later after the fact. We're able to use the speakers in the rear still, but the harness, instead of going through the door, will just come up through the floor and then tie it to the speaker. Inner panels are all done, welded up, both sides. Now it's time to cut out the big lower panel. Got the back corner in. locked in place, keeping the body lines there and through there. The middle one too right there. But that is it. Tacked in place. Got to make the lower quarter, or excuse me, the lower side skirt rocker panel. Gonna make it a separate piece because I'm gonna put a little bitty drain in the corner, kind of like the factory ones do. I wanted to tuck it in behind so it does look like a separate piece when I'm done, because it is a separate piece on the factory ones. Even if you look at pickup trucks, it's the same, but edges all welded up, grind them flush. Doors done. I'm gonna make a little filler piece for this that will go over, because we still have to make all this, but figured we'd make this and this all separate pieces. But slowly getting there. Now it's time to tack in the other side. Both sides MIG welded in, tacked in. I had to bring out the TIG welder. Tried welding all the way down the sides with the MIG, and I was getting a ton of warpage just from the heat. So went with the TIG. You guys, I can control the heat a little better. Came out really well. Zero warpage at all on it from then on out. Pretty much zero body filler on some of the edges. It was a long, tedious process TIG welding all the way down that door. And there you go. Had some minor trash in it just because pitting on it, just because dirty metal, because it's been a vehicle for 20 years. But everything was done, pushed in. Very little filler. Didn't use any in these photos, just some self-etching primer. Starting to get the uppers made, lowers made. I'm just going at it best I can. You see there, I did the other side, ground it flush, zero body filler in the corners right there, which was amazing. Started making the upper panels, same kind of process. Tacked them in with the MIG welder, and then come back, as you can see here, with the TIG welder. Lay everything nice and flat just to control the bead, grind it down, prime it up. Then I made the rear little patches here to fill in some weird angles. That wasn't fun to make at all. And then we fully self-etch primered the whole back so it would control the rust from happening, especially on the surface. And then we moved on to the sunroof. He traded want a sunroof anymore, so made a fill panel, welded it up. Even had to make a little gusset, I guess you could say, on the inside because the metal was tinging a little bit, just to keep it from warping. But it came out really well. I bought myself a dimpled eye just for this job, and I've found myself using it for anything and everything I could since then on every project we've done. It's came out really well. This video or videos are showing the gusset getting welded in between the cage and the roof to support the roof. Made a little filler painter for the front of the what used to be door to make everything look nice and pretty. Painted the interior up, and then started working on getting the interior back together. Most of the factory carpet was able to be reused, so it looks factory inside. Came out really well on the inside. All right, here's the update on it. Inside is done. Headliner and everything is back in. This piece right here in the center used to be in the very back of his old headliner. We cut it to shape and put it in there and kept his overhead light. Everything is in. Speakers in the rear. Haven't been able to put that one in yet. I'm waiting for a spacer to be made for it. Seats will go in next, followed by the racing harness and the pad for his head. Ah, yes, the Bondo work. The roof actually took, I would say, the most out of everything. Not because of the warping or anything. He just had dents up there from when he had a roof rack, and I guess stuff had fell on it, or it was overloaded, or it had dents in it from when he got it. But just light skim on pretty much the whole truck, just to get it to look, a little more square. Even though we were going to bedline it, we wanted it to look pretty, I guess you could say. It's pretty much all the weld gaps just had to get a little bitty thin coat. Not bad at all. Took about a total like a day and a half of sanding here and there. Nothing too crazy, but it came out really well, and you can kind of start to see the truck starting to come together now. Did a quick coat of roll-on solvent-free bed liner just so the Bondo was covered, and then Trey came over. We sanded his whole truck down and started prepping it for the new coats of bed liner. Then I moved on to getting the interior squared away a little bit better, getting some harnesses in, seats installed, roll bar padding. But overall, it came out really well for the interior. Would look almost stock if, it didn't have a roll bar and racing seats and that kind of fun stuff in it. This is where me and Trey started working on getting it bedline. Got a little squirreled action going on and started playing around with the tire ideas and how we're going to hold it and everything like that. But first coat of roll-on primer from Monster came out great. Did everything that had been touched as far as welding and Bondo. Our big table of mess. You can order these kits from Monster Liner. Not sponsored by them. Amazing kits. I'm using them from here on out. Started becoming sweet brown again. We did 2 total roll-on coats. Really only needed 1. We did a second one just for good measure, and it came out great. Super happy. We were both smiling the whole time. It looked amazing. And then let it sit there for about a week just to flash off and dry really good. We did it in the winter, so it took a few days for it to get not so tacky. So it just sat in the shop, and I guess you could say off-gassed or whatever the Monster Liner does. But pulled it outside every day to sit in the sun when it was nice. Turned a lot of heads sitting out front. Everybody asked what it was. But then we started working on the cage and having tube ideas, as you can see right here. This is one of the first ideas, is to have a rear bump bar, and just bunch of fabrication after this, bunch of tube work, gas tank work just for the floor above the gas tank, because we kept his aftermarket gas tank in the same spot just for a little bit of weight. Then just a bunch of ideas of how we're going to get the floor settled out for the rear, and just a lot of tube work and design. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy the pictures for a little bit. I installed the rear quarter glasses because interior was done. No needed to have them sitting on the bench anymore. They came out great. So for the rear rack, we tacked it in place. Welded the top side fully, let it cool down all the way. Took the tack welds off the frame, took the rack out, flipped it upside down, welded the whole rack on the floor, and then put it back on. And then we did a little flex test with the forklift to make sure we had tire clearance. Made the measurements perfectly. He's on 40s right now at full bump. The tire barely touches the tube. Came out great. Then after that, it was pretty much just little gussets here and there. Made some upper fenders and stuff for it. Figured out some tire straps, reservoir mounts. We made a cross brace for the back to triangulate everything. And then from there, it was just all the little details that suck you in for days and days. But it was amazing. Then I took it out on its first drive. It hadn't been driven in months down the road. Drove amazing, just drove like an 80 series with no back on it. Rear floors made out of all aluminum plate. Had some we found pretty cheap. Made it bolt in, bolt out. That way he can service his fuel tank if he needs. Then Trey came over and made some tail light brackets and got everything pretty much wrapped up. Finished up last little things like the tire mount, straps for it, and adjusted some coilovers. Lights are brake and running light. There's his turn signal. Fuel fillers hidden right behind him. Still plenty of access to get it open. Made panels for the top of the fenders. They are removable. The rear right here, Trey is going to make himself a toolbox. Everything else is pretty much open. We made some block off panels for the fuel tank just to make it look a little prettier. Full aluminum bed on it, secured with stainless hardware as well. It's made in 3 different pieces, mainly so he can get to the fuel pump underneath here if he needs to. Tires secured by a Y strap that's welded onto the gusset. Ratchets down, those secure there. Pretty much the same story on this side, minus the fuel filler, but panels. We made them a rock bash panel on both sides to keep rocks from flinging up and dinging the cab. All this will get filled in with that toolbox that he makes. Up top, reservoir is mounted high, X-braced The whole rear cage. Clearance wise, plenty of room. It's 4 fingers all the way down. The tightest spot is, we'll call that a wide 2 finger. The rear right here gets close. That's about 3/8 of an inch, but we flexed it and it does not contact, so he should be good. You put polyurethane body mounts all in through the thing, so the body really doesn't flex too much anymore. License plate down there, a little license plate light. The rear. So this rear tube right here, some of you guys have commented what it is. That's gonna be his rear sway bar tube. He's trying to get the right length measured out, and then when our CNC plasma table comes up, we're gonna make him custom arms that come out, and we'll make him brackets on his axle, and it'll have an off-road sway bar in the rear. It'll pass through the frame. Tour of the inside. So he already had these Corbeau racing seats. We added an internal cage as well for safety. Little dimple die gusset up there to secures the cage to the actual roof support. Plenty of room behind the seats. As you can see, we have a full Simpson racing box back there. He's got harnesses on his driver's seat. There's probably 18 inches behind the seat for room. You walk around. Here we go. Like I said, the driver's side has a full 5-point harness. The rear back here, there's about 18 inches behind the seat for stuff. We kept the rear speakers and the doors right there. It sounds really good in here. We lost half the cab and kept all the same speakers. Everything works, including the rear wiper. The squirter would work if he had his bottle. Obviously we eliminated the sunroof, capped the roof off on it. The panel, we just took part of the rear part of the headliner and just put it over top here and secured it. But everything's padded all the way down. Kept the rear door glass. That was the back side of the rear doors. That glass sat way back here. We flipped them, driver on passenger, passenger on driver, just to get the angles right. It slips in and out, as you've seen through videos. Pretty much done. He is going to take it home, acetone the whole cage down, take these panels off, take the floor out, spray it all, I believe with Steal It spray paint. So it'll be a nice, good finish. And I believe he's gonna bedline these tops tan like the rest of the vehicle. See how that looks. If not, we'll just spray them black afterwards. I believe he's going to paint these right here again black. He has to paint up around this window trim. Just a bunch of little stuff that he can do on his own, so we don't have to do it here. But other than that, this is the, we'll call it an 85 series. So driving down the road manners are the exact same that it was. Other than that, it's an 80 series with half of it cut off. So give you some views of what you see. Tons of room back there to haul camping gear, off-road gear, everything. Looking over your shoulder, you can see where the tires are now, obviously because there's not a body in the way. But drives like a normal 80 series. That's solid axled on 40s and coilovers and no sway bars and an exhaust that's dumps out right below the passenger seat. But it's awesome. It drives fine. Really happy with this project. That is it. It is done. Total of, I believe, 160 hours now total into it. Just me. Had a little help here and there with help me hold things in place while they got welded, pick stuff up. but about 160 hours total in it. Trey came over. He's the owner of Sweet Brown here, and I think he put probably about 25 hours in himself, just helping me get some of the body work done, the bed liner on, bending tube for the cage. But yeah, it turned out really great. We're happy with it. Thanks, guys. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, post it on Facebook. I want to do another one of these. I have a few more ideas of different things we can do after doing this one. So thanks everybody again.